Good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk on Global Television, a program where we highlight political issues in Nigeria and try to make a way forward for this country. This country must work for all of us. My name is Ubong Osoro, welcoming you to the show. Tonight on the show, we will be assessing opposition parties and their output and conduct during the just concluded 16th August by-elections. A lot of political parties participated, 66 candidates vying for offices, 18 political parties participated in that election. And we're already seeing some political parties saying the elections were not free and fair. So tonight on the show, we are going to be looking at and exploring what really happened during the by-elections in the different states, and what are the people saying, what are the positions saying, and what are the conversation around as it reflects 2027. Of course, a lot of political parties have their eyes and have their ears around 2027 as they hope to challenge the ruling party, and the ruling party hopes to continue, staying in power. Those are some of the conversations we're going to be having tonight. But before then, every night when we come on the show, I like to highlight to you perspective of Nigerians around different political parties. Let's go do that now. After the short break, we are going to be looking at some political stories that are trending on social media, and I bring it to you. Let's go for the short break. Tonight on the show, as I do it every day when we come on the show, I show you some trending political issues and what Nigerians are thinking about those issues. Let's go check what Nigerians are thinking about some of these issues. Alright, so this one says, ahead of the scheduled exit of the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, by December, youth of the opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, are saying that the president may have some plans to bring in people or somebody that will be helping him win election. Let's see some of the comments on that particular story on social media. Agbeyi Fanyi Nana says, change of leadership at INEC is very critical for Nigeria's democracy. As Professor Mahmood Yakubu prepares to exit, what we need is transparency, credibility, and a chairman who will put the will of the people above party interests. The youth are watching, and 2027 begins with the foundation led today. All right, so there's been a lot of conversation around Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who will be leaving office by December because his tenure as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission comes to an end, and some persons are saying that maybe the president will bring in somebody that will help him win the election in 2027. But the presidency have said, well, not after that. You saw that we are not trying to guide gay opposition. There's a level playing ground for everybody. All right, let's take another comment. Frederick Tete says, how will that help ADC's electoral value? Because some people in the ADC are already alleging that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu may be bringing in somebody that will help him win elections in 2027 as the next INEC chairman. And if somebody is asking a question, how does this assertion at this point, we still have 2 years before we get to 2027, how does this assertion help the ADC at this time, right? Those are some of the questions that Nigerians are asking. And as we are going to be bringing in our guests for tonight, we are going to be talking about some of these things and how it impacts our politics as Nigerians. Let's take another story. Former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has urged Nigerians to register and collect their permanent voter cards, PVCs, ahead of the 2027 general elections, stressing that it is the most powerful tool to defeat bad leadership and curb electoral fraud. Okay, so I will say Peter Obi, former Labour Party 2023 presidential candidates, urging Nigeria, saying go get your permanent voter cards. Of course, the registrations are on, so you could go to an INEC office to register and make sure you get your PVC. Like they say, PVC gives you the right to vote your leaders into power. So sometimes you stay complaining and saying this leader is not working, this leader is not, but you never participated in the process that gave us those leaders. So go get your PVC at this point. Let's see some comments that people are making. Alright, so Amele Kume, God will say, sir, I've always believed in your dreams of a better Nigeria, but sincerely, we have moved beyond normal vote rigging. We are currently in the realm of outright and audacious mutilation of results and supported by the judiciary. That's his view. In my opinion, we need to find a way of holding the judiciary accountable to ensure that the right thing is done. Election cases are decided on technicalities, not on the fact of the cases. Election apathy is a reflection of voters' confidence not only in the election process but also the post-election event. All right, so let's take one more comment. Tony Onyebuchi says we should focus more on the word technical glitches rather than on PVC. INEC requires a complete overhaul. That's totally his opinion about what Peter Obi said, all right? But INEC has been coming, they've been to our station. My colleague Topsy Gimba some days ago hosted the INEC Reg Abuja, and he was here saying, come make sure that you get your PVCs. Go get your PVCs, because this is the time. Because with your PVCs, you have the right to vote a leader that you want, a leader that is tested and trusted, and not just selected, a leader that is voted by the people, and the will of the masses can only come to fusion when you have your PVC. Let's take another story tonight. All right, so sadly, we've seen President Tinubu commiserate with Ododo over his father's death. So President Bola Tinubu has expressed deep condolences to Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo following the death of his father Alhaji Momo Shani Ododo earlier on Monday. So condolences to Governor of Kogi State for losing his father, and we've seen the president say something. I think we have some comments. Let's take a few comments on that. Omar Badma says, may his gentle soul rest in peace. Alhaji Momo Sani, peace of Allah all over his body in the grave. I mean, all right, that's a prayer. We're saying his soul rest in peace. Another comment. Daibo Adebo Wale Sulaimo says, the president of the people. That's referring to President Bola Tinubu for sending condolences to the father of the Kogi State governor that recently died. All right. And now, I brought some reports done by my colleague about some events that's happened in the nations of recent, that's happened in this country of recent. And I'd like to play those reports to you as we have an idea of some of the issues that are going on in the nation before we get into our discussion tonight. Don't go nowhere. Let's take those reports.
Flooding has become a recurring and devastating challenge across many parts of Nigeria, as each year, lives are lost, properties destroyed, livelihoods disrupted, and the socio-economic fabric of entire communities severely affected. The speaker, who was ably represented by the House Majority Leader, Professor Julius Nwubere, says this is no longer a seasonal inconvenience. It is a national emergency that demands urgent, coordinated, and strategic action.
This ritual we perform every year. It is time for it to stop. And I'm hoping that this committee will do that. Every government at the local and state level, they know the flood is coming. They know. And sometimes they are using it to fleece the federal government because the presidency gives them money. Ecological fund, there's flood coming, 3 billion. Not one thing is done.
The Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs, Yusuf Sununu, commends the 10th House for its proactive approach to natural disasters. He laments over the flooding impacts on the internally displaced persons and farmers. He added that the ministry is putting in measures to reduce the weight of vulnerable groups, with over 5 million Nigerians being given the compulsory cash to mitigate hardship meted on them.
More farmland are submerged and therefore leading to a lot of displacement and loss of those farmland. And in the end, after even the floods is gone, you find that areas of farms that normally you can cultivate is now becoming sandy field, thereby affecting also arable land that we can use to this. And I said on our own part as ministry, we are doing our effort to reduce the impact of such this into our food security.
The newly inaugurated chairman of the committee, Midala Balami, stressed the need for a comprehensive national framework, one that encompasses prevention, early warning systems, emergency response, community resilience, infrastructure development, and climate adaptation strategies.
The time for piecemeal approaches has passed and is long overdue. What we need now and what we are going to do is that we are going to have a kind of an urgent and multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary approach. This approach will include harnessing our potentials and our resources.
Stakeholders from the National Emergency Management, Ministry of Water Resources, Health, Fire Services, Hydrological Agency, and Meteorological Agency all pledged their support to the committee, saying it is the right step in the right direction, owing to the loss of lives across the states.
The federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Youth, has unveiled a digital platform to empower Nigerian youth with skills in textile, plastic, glass, and paper recycling. The Minister of Youth Development, while unveiling the platform, mentioned that Nigeria generates over 30 million tons of waste every year, a challenge the government believes can be turned into an opportunity for innovation and sustainable development.
Today is another step for the efforts to put into action a key part of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu agenda. We will be coming up with these, like I said before. We will be coming up with different initiatives, and we are working towards how to get it to the root. Because the majority of us are from the root, and this is the first time we're having it so special.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs said the initiative will not only empower young people with employment opportunities, but also contribute significantly to the nation's climate action goals.
Well, for me today, it's a day that one can say is less celebrated. I'm just coming from the greenhouse where we celebrated the World Humanitarian Day. It's a day to honor all those individuals who want to stand with people at point of conflict, disaster, risk, to reduce and cushion the effect of whatever condition they find themselves.
I'm delighted to represent DG Nigeria, who is unavoidably absent, and indeed he expresses his regret to not being present here, but he has asked that I represent him and present his keynote address.
Delivering the keynote on the topic Waste to Wealth, Raising a Generation of Environmental Stewards, the Director General of the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency, NESDRA, Professor Innocent Bariko, represented by Shola Omotoshi, said the initiative reinforced NESDRA's mission of protecting the environment while driving a circular economy that creates opportunity for Nigerian youths. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
Abdul Latif spoke at the Rafah border crossing during the visit of Qatar's Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani in what was seen as a rare show of joint diplomatic pressure. He said the meeting was aimed at consolidating Arab efforts and applying maximum pressure on both Israel and Hamas to accept the deal. The proposal, drawn up with United States backing, is said to include a 60-day pause in fighting, a phased exchange of hostages for Palestinian detainees, and increased humanitarian access to Gaza.
Are our partners in this process of negotiating a deal to put an end to the current starvation and the attacks on Gaza. So the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister of Qatar is here to, consolidate our existing common efforts in order to apply maximum pressure on the two sides to reach a deal as soon as possible, because, as we mentioned, the current situation on the ground is beyond imagination.
Rights groups continue to warn of catastrophic conditions in Gaza, where food and fuel shortages have left hundreds of thousands displaced, and aid agencies say famine is looming. International observers say the outcome of this Cairo meeting could determine whether the war edges closer to resolution or slides further into stalemate. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Actually, I had to bring you all of those reports about what is happening in the country and even outside Nigeria. Politically, that's our job on this show. Our job is strictly to educate you, to help you understand what are the political choices you have, and to help you make the right political choices, because we know that political choices can affect the life we live, can affect the choices that we make, the choices of our health care, choices of our economy, choices of the kind of political leaders we have. So it is very important that we have the right information. And that's why tonight on the show, we are going to be talking to somebody, a guest that will be helping us understand an assessment of opposition parties in the just concluded August 16th by-election that took place in several 66 candidates contesting for different political platforms in Nigeria. And that's what we'll be doing. But before then, let's go for this break. And when we're back, we'll get straight into our discussion for tonight. My name is Ubong Usoro, and this is Global Television. Welcome back. This is still Big Talk, and tonight on the program, we are actually looking at an assessment of the by-elections and what it means for opposition parties. And we have a guest that is joining us to help us make sense of tonight's discussion. At DBC, who's joining us, via Zoom to help us make sense of this discussion. Moses at DBC is joining us. He is also a national leader of Nigerian Liberty Movement, national leader of the Nigerian Liberty Movement. Welcome, Mr. DBC. It's good to have you join us on the show. So how are you today?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank God. Yes, and you?
I'm fine. So let's talk about the by-elections. We saw a lot of political parties contest, and we saw winners. For me, at least the major political parties won in one way or the other. We saw APC winning, in places like Kano. We saw NNPP also winning in places like Kano. We saw APGA, getting some winnings, and we also saw the PDP also winning. Let's get your assessment of the by-elections. What do you think happened during the by-elections?
Generally speaking, when the by-elections is conducted free and fairly in Nigeria, it actually gives a room for the upcoming political parties, if I should say it like that, for them to try and show their capacity too. If you notice, you will see the off-cycle election is different from the by-election generally, and the by-election is different from the general elections. So during the general elections in every country all over the world, there's always a noise, there's always a hype, everybody's ready, prepared for that election to come. And then the superpowers in the electoral system, like in the political space of every country, they usually try to dominate every of the general elections. But when we talk about the by-election specifically, you see that this gives room to upcoming political parties in order for them to show their popularity too. To me, I call it in my philosophical terms as the test of popularity. Test of popularity. So anytime you see like by-election somewhere, off-cycle election somewhere, I term it the test of popularity for anyone that wants to get in the political space. And that is what you see, even the ADC of the past, as I can say, because they still remain in the past as far as the true capacity of political leadership in Nigeria is concerned. They are still the party of the past, yeah? Even they actually one of the lady one with the ADC.
Yes. Let me allow you finish your thoughts. But calling the ADC a party of the past, and my editors are asking, where are you speaking to us from at the moment?
You're imagining because of all this group of people. If the past people come to reawaken the past, it does not change it to become present. It does not. So I understand that. Obviously, all this your own political bigwigs now, they actually come and part of the AP. They've come to be part of the ADC now. So, but everybody knows this is a political party of the past. There are aggrieved members of the Nigerian society as we speak today that are never going to accept anything that comes through anyone that has occupied leadership positions of the country before. And so therefore, if someone that has occupied, that has had this opportunity to do something good and they fail to do it, they are now coming now under one party that is literally forgotten even. Anyway, you're speaking to the national leader of Nigerian Liberty Movement. I'm telling you practically, ADC is a political party of the past. Likewise, PDP. The only contemporary we have in this current time now is APC in Nigeria. So go ahead, my brother.
The party of the past, the the ADC and all of the other parties you are calling parties of the past, we know that they still win elections, like the PDP. In these by-elections, we saw the PDP winning resoundingly in Oyo State. So we saw
it's test of popularity.
Just a moment, Doctor. We still saw the PDP, pulling weight in places. We saw NNPP, New Nigerian People's Party, winning also in Kano and all
Kano,
of it.
yes.
Just to put it in context, let's look at the place of these other opposition parties, the SDP, the PDP, the ADC. What chance do they stand in 2027 to challenge the ruling All Progressive Congress?
There's one of these Yoruba I'm actually from the southwest Osun State specifically, and as one of these proverbial words we've got, and we say it like the coming together of novices usually render the wisdom of the master useless. The coming together of different novices. In Yoruba it says Ipejopo Ojogbon fi n pa. So when the novices gather themselves together and they are coming together, it's no longer in silos. They now form the alliance together officially. They will always defeat the one that I think is the master strategist. I love what is happening currently, I'm not going to lie to you. And I call the party, because I said they are all political parties of the past. Why? Because there's a newness that has come. There's newness in the political space in Nigeria, if you're watching. And that newness, all these things you see that is happening is pointing to that newness. So everyone that is now part of that newness that is coming, they will do well in 2027. And it's not only to challenge the incumbent leadership of the country, is to take the power off them. Why? Because when we trusted them with the power, they use the power to empower themselves only. And politics is not about that. Politics is not about the power. It's about the empowerment. So we have come now to
stay with you, because you just made a statement, when we trusted the political parties we have now with power, they didn't use the power very well. And the questions on the minds of Nigerians will be, all of the other alternatives we have, the SDP, for instance, Malam Nasir El-Rufai is still a member, at least he's not giving us he's not a member of the SDP again. We have the NNPP, the Labour Party, and all of the other political parties. They are still being fielded. And it's the top wings of those political parties, opposition parties, are still members that have left these other political parties, either the PDP or the APC. So what alternatives, if you are saying there's a newness, what line is the newness coming?
What line is the newness coming from? Okay, sir. The newness is actually coming from the people of the future that do not want to take instruction from the people of old anymore. There is a country, Nigeria. Obviously, what the platform I'm telling you now is a political party. It's actually a political. You want me to mention the name?
No. You are going to pay us for that, Doctor. Let's have a conversation.
We are leading the cause of anti-silos movement in Nigeria. Anytime we are able to get the Nigerian people to walk off silos, to come together in unison under the platform that has come to restore human dignity in Nigeria, everybody will leave the past and come to that future. Why? If you are part of the Nigerian past, you can never be a major key role player in the Nigeria's future. And the Nigeria future will start in 2027. So we are getting there gradually. So let's just keep, playing the games like that. Let all our ANPPS, DP, APC, let them continue to show their, popularity too. By the time the platform is fully established, all of them will leave all those. They will come into the newness, because we only have one common goal, and that goal is to get Nigeria to work. So anybody that does not support the newness that is coming in Nigeria does not mean well for the country. They only want to come and take their own fair share too. Real option is coming for the Nigerian people, son. Yes.
Right. There's a question about structures in political parties, and we saw that play out in the by-elections, because in NNP, for instance, in Kano, we saw the NNPP being winning the elections in Kano as a result of former minister talking about Kwankwaso, former
Kwankwaso, yes,
leading the party to victory, and even talking about states like Oyo State, Sheyi Makinde, governor of the PDP, threw his weight, and we saw the PDP speaking of victories in those places. So let's talk about opposition movement and the place of having political big wings. Like you just mentioned, there could be platforms that are coming up for Nigerians to try to be part of those platforms. But where is the place of having influential people join our politics? It seems politics, some people vote by persuasion because of the caliber of influential people that are moving those movements.
So what happened there is, I get a question very clearly. Okay, so what happened there is very simple. Everybody always make use of what they have until they see what they need. Everybody always make do with what they have until what they need or want is practically available to them. So let's assume in Nigeria, as Nigeria is today, that everyone is just in the system that they can see, and they want to be relevant. That is why they still remain there. So when the everybody need in Nigeria comes, the political bigwigs is concerned, all the people that you see that are parading themselves as the leaders of Nigeria today, they are not even in the top class leaders that Nigeria has produced globally. The best of everything in Nigeria, or the best of everything from Nigeria, is outside of Nigeria. Can I say that again? The best of everything from Nigeria is outside of Nigeria. And Nigerian Liberty Movement, for example, if I should just say it, is that a platform that have all the good lead across the entire world. It's not just about America. It's not about the United Kingdom. We have what we call the technocratic cabinet in the 7 major countries all over the world. And the trust of these people is, after something, we're waiting for something in Nigeria. Now, after that time, they will enter the street officially and come and demand for good governance in that country through this political vehicle called the Nigerian Liberty Movement platform. So we have the people, forget about this one.
Yeah, so just like that, expand more on that thought. You said everything good about Nigeria, the best of the things in Nigeria are outside of Nigeria. And, people will want to wonder, the president of Nigeria is in Nigeria. Is it not good for Nigerians? Nigerians voted him into power. That's on a lighter note. Let me move to the question.
I thought you want me to react to that fast.
Maybe you add that to the thoughts now. Let's talk about it, Doctor. What place did gratification, giving some monies, doling out some to people to be able to vote, because we've seen this assertion even on the pages of newspapers. People have asserted that there seem to have been some form of gratification in our electoral system, and it continues. Are you not bothered that even with the new movement that you and the rest of young people, old people may be talking about, some Nigerians may choose to vote for those that are willing to give them money and not about the ideologies that you are talking about?
Well, there are 3 major ingredients of emerging political leadership all over the world. This is not only applicable to Nigeria as a country, it's practicable in the US, practicable in the UK, and every other country. 3 major ingredients of political leadership. Number 1 is ideology. So whether someone has the money or he doesn't have the money, if you have a right ideology to really solve immediate, intermediate, and the long-term problem of the people, if the ideology solves these 3 major problems for the people, people will key into it, whether you give them money or not. That's why I'm not endorsing any platform here. I'm just citing this as an example. Omar Eleshowore, for example, is coming out, is one of this person I respect anyway, coming out, revolution, this and that. Does he have followers or not? Even though they are meager, they are small, Does he have or not? Why? Because he has an ideology.
I've interviewed a few of them on my program.
Yes, Nnamdi Kanu, for example, Nnamdi Kanu of the IPOB that is doing all of those things, Does he have followers or not? He has. Why? Because he has an ideology. So ideology is the number one thing that any political party require in order for them to thrive all over the world. PDP that you see today, can I tell you
the political parties we have now? We have the PDP and the APC. What are their ideologies? Do you know?
Yeah, that is what I want to talk about. What happened is they've actually, as a matter of fact, the reason PDP came into power is because they do not have access to the national cake. And they wanted to come in so that they can have their own fair share of the national cake as far as 1998. So that was what gave birth to PDP. Don't you say? Was General Ibrahim Babangida, was he not part of the dictator in Nigeria? Under the military regime, was he not part of the coup plotter in the country? He was part of the PDP too. Every of the person, including like the Nasir El-Rufai, Professor Jerry Gana, the Atiku Abubakar, and all those people, they were the people that come together. We call them the G34 movement. The Great 34 movement. That they were 34 in numbers of that time. That registered PDP because they wanted to have access to the national cake that the military regime does not allow them to have access to. The ideology of APC in Nigeria that has emerged after them today is because when PDP was in power, they did not extend that national cake to them too. And the ones that were supposed to be in charge of those national cake, they were not allowed. They teamed up together again to register the platform called the APC. So the government of Nigeria has thrived on chop, I chop since that time up until now. And when the ideology is right, the next thing is capacity. So under the capacity, whatever it must require to get people to understand your ideology is what you must do. Even if it requires you to share to share whatever that they are sharing now to buy them over. When you want to attend any political gathering now, even though it's 500 naira, 1,000 naira, it's as bad as that because the people has lost their voice. They know that when they are coming home, when they are going home, they will have 1,000. So if it requires you to pay transport for the people too, so they can come and hear that there is life after the 4 years, after you collected on the 1,000 naira after the election, there is life. And that life is lasting for 4 years. So whatever it will require us to do, we have decided, we've planned to. Under the system I'm leading, we have what we call the budget of liberty. With this budget of liberty, everything that it requires for our 66 million people, we've already provided. Everything that it requires to get our 66 million people to be rooted in the message of liberty, we've provided it. And the third one, under the emergence capacity, is called the anointing for possibility. As a matter of fact, the only thing that make Bola Tinubu to win the last general election is because there is anointing of presidency upon him, even though he himself knows that it's just one term. There is anointing of him becoming the president of Nigeria. Why? He dragged it upon himself. So we cannot rule out these three things: ideology, capacity, and anointing for possibility. All the people that may be making all the noise now, they may have only the ideology.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how you the movement are leading and all other opposition parties are going to do it in less than 2 years. Shifting these ideologies to the villages, all of the towns in Nigeria, all of the 774 local governments. I don't know. You have your plans, but stay with me now. I want to know, what is the place of the ordinary man in choosing the kind of leaders that they want? Do you see that happening? Because with all of this, we've talked about some form of dollarization, gratification of our elections. There are talks about harassment, which I like that you also talk about it, because we know political parties, they need structures. I saw in the last election, the Labour Party, for instance, I covered the election. There were places that didn't have agents to look at their vote. Have you made provisions about that? Have you thought about that? Don't you think that if the APC, it will, for removing the APC, will need some form of merger, some form of coalition. Are you not thinking in that direction?
We are obviously thinking, that's why I said we are working against the anti-silo system as far as Nigeria political space is concerned. We've actually started 1 year ago, and then we're going to run it through before the next general election. Can I shock you? Most of the political party that you saw that won against the APC during this very last election, this last by-election that you saw, most of them were officially permitted by us go and vote any of other political party you deem fit. Every member of the political conscious people in that country today, they belong to NLMO, 100%. Every member that have political consciousness in Nigeria today, they belong to NLM. If it's about structure, forget what are you talking about? You've not seen, don't you know what NLM... Across the 8,809 political wards in Nigeria today, we have armies of liberators. Every of the 8,809 political wards in Nigeria today. So that is it.
What is the funding? Because we hear opposition parties complain most times about funding, that the ruling parties are being funded by state apparatus. We see those allegations. Let's talk about funding on one side. And we'll also talk about the place of young people and the place of people, Nigerians, to be able to express their voice. Is it not an elite capture again? So funding on one side and elite capture. Is it not still the same elite coming together? You said the best of Nigeria is not in Nigeria. Those who are not in Nigeria, are they not the elite?
Yeah, they are elite, but they are not coming to capture. Why? Every generation have their own specific assignment to carry out. Every generations. So some of us in this current generations, we've understand that it is our duty to transform Nigeria as a country. And we are doing it without the hope of favor, without the fear of oppressions or anything that can happen. We are only doing it to fulfill destiny. And as I keep saying to many people, because people think it is only those that are stealing the wealth of Nigeria that have money. No, there are wealthy people everywhere. As a matter of fact, the wealth that the people of Nigeria are even stealing is not commensurate to a fully established person in America. You can't compare the wealth that the political class in Nigeria are stealing with a fully established person in the UK. If someone has £1 million in the United Kingdom, if a like is stealing every day, you know, as a House of Rep member, as a this, as a that, it can't come close. Yeah, I'm telling you the fact. As a House of Rep, I'm not talking of a senator, I'm not talking of governors, you know. So if someone has £1 billion in his business, you know, for example, in the UK, and then you want to compare him with one thief, one person that is changing figure in the state, you can't compare them. So it is not only in Nigeria that people really have money. We have Nigerian people that are doing well all over the world, and we have called their attention. As I speak to you today, I have the applications of Nigerian Liberty Movement on all the technocratic space of intelligence all over the world. Every of the organization and association that belongs to the space of intelligence, we have the Nigeria to restore the human dignity in Nigeria, and the support is coming on daily basis. All the things we are doing, our people are already doing it for themselves. It is when you make people to understand what is obtainable to them, they will go all out to defend themselves. That was why Peter Obi failed last election, and he has never learned his lesson. And I'm not here to teach him, you know, because it's part of the Nigerian problem. So therefore, we have already solved every of the problem that is faced by the Nigerian people in the political space in its entirety.
So we can wind down on the conversation, Doctor. I know you are very busy and all of that. Three things comes to mind. Number one, which party are you seeing that which candidates are you seeing that the opposition throw out candidates who have massive support. You just talked about Peter Obi. Peter Obi got 6 million votes in the last election, and to me, that's somebody who has some sort of acceptance. Are you thinking
going
into a major with Peter Obi? That's on one side. On the other side, let's talk about the programs of the opposition parties. The opposition parties sometimes may not capture places very well, and you can't win an election in Nigeria as a regional party. So there are talks about the South should complete its tenure in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There are talks about the tenure should be finished 8 years before it goes to any other side. Are you putting all of those things into consideration as somebody who is leading an opposition movement at this time?
Number one is about the coalitions or the ADC or whatever. That is their own cup of tea. That's their own problem. None of them is smelling. None of them is smelling that political office come 2027. None of them. If they like, they throw themselves out again. If they like, they put themselves together. We were the one that threw the support for every one of them that you saw during the last election. We were the one, and we discovered that you can. I don't want to talk about the absurdities in all these people, but we were the one that actually make all those things happen. And now we've already decided we don't want to revere the wisdom of another person anymore. We know that if we give power to this man, he will do worse than what Tinubu is doing today. So what did we do? We went out to go and sought for a real savior of the people, and we already got. So whether they join themselves together, they come separately, whoever that win among them is just coming to come and waste their money as they always do. That's number one. Number two is, I don't want to give too much of the informations. But as we speak now, the power remains in the Southwest specifically, but the power will be taken from the person that has taken the people for granted. You need to decode what I've just spoken to you.
Okay, those are facts that are contested. Taking the people for granted in what way? With the reform subsidies removed, all of the major candidates in the last election talked about removing of subsidy. So in what way are you saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken the people for granted? Doctor, in 30 seconds, as we round up the show tonight, just go ahead and tell us in what way you think the current government has taken people, Nigerians, for granted, as you call that. And people will say that maybe it's because you are not in the corridor of power. That's why you're speaking like this. Because we've seen people speak like this before. Even recently, we've seen them now drum ships and now talk for this present government.
We are not people that speak from the both side of our mouth like that of the Reno or mockery. We are not, our belly does not rule our heart here. I belong to the social space of intelligence. In a civilized society, we are not hungry people running after the morsel of food like those ones that you just mentioned. But let me come back to the questions that you've asked me. How did these people took Nigerian for granted? In the beginning of Nigeria, it was not so. All the problems, crisis, hunger, underdevelopment, in fact, every act of evil that is perpetrated towards the Nigerian people of today, in the beginning of the country, it was not so. All the hardship Nigerian people are experiencing today was brought upon us by the group of wicked leaders that has ruled the country in the past. It requires the effort of another set of competent and compassionate leaders to take away the hardship and restore human dignity in Nigeria. That which is only possible by emerging new breeds of leadership in Nigeria political landscape through Nigerian Liberty Movement under the leadership of these days Moses for emergency national intervention, self-actualization of every citizen, and purposeful national development. Until we come out to do this, Nigeria will always be engaged in a retrogressive evolution, taking 10 steps forward, 100 steps backward.
Thank you
That's
so
it.
much, and we have to go at this moment. I do hope that we'll have this conversation once again. Tonight was about by-elections, and we also went to talk about the opposition movement. I do hope that we'll have you once again, because there are a lot of other conversations that we may need to highlight, just that we don't have the time to do that now. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time.
That's all. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful day.
Okay, people, that's the size of our package for you tonight. Do have for yourself a wonderful night. Remember, Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must work and make sure that this country works for all of us. My name is Ubongu Soro in Abuja, and I'm saying bye for now.